I've been playing this game so long that some of y'all were literally still in preschool when I started playing, and I was 17 years old. There's a lot of things that's been added and taken out of the game, and today I just wanted to highlight some things I miss about Rainbow Six Siege. Let me know down in the comments, guys, what are some things that you miss about Siege, and let's get into it. The very first thing I miss is operator intros. Now, they used to make some really sick cinematics for every single operator, and it would kind of tell you what they do, but at the same time mixing in all their lore, their personality, all of that, and it just had so much aura. Like, bro, look at this glass one. Like I was like, whoa, I was like Zooey Mama when I saw this. And listen, I get it. Like, we're 70 plus operators now, and we've definitely changed dev teams over the years. But man, I just don't know why they took this out. And I understand that, like, this takes probably a lot of effort, and they probably see no value since they're not making money. But I feel like it was just rich. It just gave you another reason to actually want to dive into the lore of Siege and fall in love with these operators. And like, once again, like, they're not making money from it, but in the long run, they are technically making money because you're getting diehard long-term fans. Next is definitely situations. The reason why I think situations was super underrated is because not only did it give an aspect of you could learn these operators and you can kind of understand how Siege is played, but it gave us the single player aspect that we just don't have in Siege. And I get it, like, Siege is an online game and it's always been, but honestly, to go back to what I was saying about lore and operators, it was just kind of cool. It wasn't a crazy heavy campaign, and I know for a fact doing what they did with the voice actors and all of that, it didn't take much time to put it together. And once again, you kind of got lore for each map that we have had. Like, for example, there was a really cool one on Canal, and it kind of tied back into the whole purpose of what Siege was meant to be at the start of its life, and it was a tactical realism shooter, and you can basically just be thrown in these situations and learn how to play each operator. I just thought it was really cool, and it sucked that they took it out. And maybe it's because they wanted to add better ways for players to learn, but I feel like, why would you remove part of the game? Like, just add on to it. Now, the next thing they took away is night maps. And back in the day, I get why they took it away, but this was literal years ago. It's been probably like 5 to 6 years since we had night maps in ranked, and I just don't know why they haven't added it back. The problem they had was the balancing issue with graphics, since you could not see anything outside, but now we are on a whole different engine that's apparently upgraded, so it'd be nice to see night maps back in the game, because you can play the same map over and over, and trust me, yes, if the map is literally night or day, that will change the entire vibe and give you more replay value all around. Now, even though Ranked 1.0 was a very flawed system and there was a lot of problems with it, I actually miss Ranked 1.0 so much because of the competitive nature. I feel like that's missing a lot with Ranked 2.0, and the main reason why is because you don't have the same risk over reward, and I feel like that kind of is the reason why you have players playing so stupid nowadays compared to how they used to play. Like, for example, when I would play like top pro champ stacks that would literally be top 10 champ, I would gain 130 elo even as a low champion player, and they would lose whatever I gained. And that's really how I think it should be, even though, once again, it was a flawed system because people would boost, but there used to be ranked requirements. Like, for example, you can only play with somebody that was a tier lower than you, but for some reason they wanted to make it very casual and make it so you can play with literally any rank, which, once again, is super stupid. Now let's talk about grenades. There's two big things that I really miss, and one actually should still be in the game, and that's throwing grenades back. Back in the early years of Siege, if somebody whipped a grenade at you and they didn't cock it, you would actually be able to pick it up and throw it right back at them, which I think makes a lot of sense. And why can't you do it anymore? Like, seriously, why? And let's talk about cocking grenades. And all that means is you would be able to cook them. So if you hold it in your hand, you would have a certain amount of time before it would detonate. And I feel like this was one of those skill gap things. The highest skilled players would be able to do it, even though it was super easy. Even 8 years after the game came out, people still didn't know how to do it. And the way they went about nerfing it was so you just couldn't you know, hold a grenade in your hand and let it explode. You literally can just hold it as long as you want, which I don't know. I wish that they just changed the damage system with it, because I think that would make more sense overall, because you're literally having to throw a grenade from below, and it made nades feel almost irrelevant in a lot of ways. And here's one that I don't know if you guys are going to agree or disagree with. I think a lot of people were happy to see this go, but this was secure area and hostage. Back in the day, people used to literally roast people for being secure area and hostage diamonds, and they were looked down upon almost as a Mickey Mouse ranking, because to be fair, bomb was played in such a different way, since the way that you take map control, the strats, everything like that was much more intense compared to hostage and secure area. But I'm not gonna lie, I like the variety, especially hostage. That was kind of how Rainbow Six Siege was marketed when I got into the game. The game was marketed behind this tactical realism shooter, and to be honest, I would love that variety aspect. Why would you take content away from a game? Like, it's not doing any harm. Now, do y'all remember the aura kill cams? I used to love these. This was like a staple of thumbnails back in the day. People would jump this up and you knew you were about to get a crazy ranked clips video. Man, just bring this back. There were some stinky ones. There was a whole thread on Twitter of people just replying to me with the most hilarious kill cams. Like, come on. Can we get some fun back? Just a little bit, please. Renowned daily challenges and just the Ubisoft Connect challenges in general is something I missed. I feel like we used to have so many cool, unique charms and skins we used to get. Like, for example, those birthday challenges, which we don't get anymore. For example, if operator like Oryx had a birthday, then they would get a gun skin if you do a certain amount of stuff with the operator, or you use the T5, for example, which was Oryx's gun at the time. Like that stuff like that is so unique and so cool and so fun, and I loved collecting skins and charms, just doing stuff like that. Am I ever going to use those charms and skins that much? Probably not, to be honest, because I have my own in-game charm, which you can subscribe on Twitch to. But that doesn't matter. I still just loved having it and unlocking something. And I feel like that's what a lot of games are now missing. The point of grinding for something and unlocking it. That's why, like, a lot of old Call of Duties used to be so fun, because of the challenges was getting the weapon skins. It was like a flex almost. Now, this is going to be a little controversial because I understand why they took it out, but fire rate selectors. So basically, you were able to put your gun on one tap, triple burst, and just normal. And to be honest, I found this to be very cool in terms of just using different weapons. Am I going to lie and say that I used it in-game a lot? Not really, unless it was just for the memes, which that's all it was meant for. But the reason why it got taken out, which makes a lot of sense, is people were using macros to basically overload weapons and get no recoil. So can you imagine the Twitch F2 single burst and it's just shooting faster than its normal speed, except it doesn't have recoil? It was crazy, but I do miss it. But I can live without it at this point. So guys, what are some things you miss about Siege? And let me know when you guys started playing, and if you made it to the very end of the video, thank you.